I don't know, I think I would say the music.
The food.
The never-ending parties.
Yeah. Maybe it's more so just like the general way of life.
Yeah.
Are all things that we just absolutely love about living in Mexico. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. More on that later. Again, none of those things are true. We love all those things and more about Mexico. We absolutely love Mexico. We've obviously chosen to live here. There are so many more things we love about Mexico.
In fact, there is something we hate about living in Mexico, and we're going to get into that in this video. Some of the other things we wanted to talk about are really more of things we've had to adjust to while living in Mexico, but that doesn't really make a good title, and no one's clicking on that, so unfortunately we had to go with the negativity because YouTube. ¿Tiene mango con chile? One thing that we don't hate, and that has never ever been a challenge for us living in Mexico.
Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering.
Are street candies. Just candies. Just food, really, in general.
These are beach candies.
Mangos, it's a gummy bear that's mango flavored with chili on there, because it wouldn't be a Mexican candy if it's not a little spicy.
These are exceptionally good because it's so humid here. They're like a little gooey and warm because they've been pushed around in the sun all day. Sounds gross, actually delicious. So whether you're looking to move to Mexico, whether you're looking to visit Mexico, today we want to be open and honest about a few of the challenges that we have really faced and do really face on a continual basis. Later, we will get to the thing that we absolutely hate about living in Mexico. But the first and biggest challenge for me personally has been language. Spanish is absolutely a barrier, has been just this huge, daunting wall. It's like a speed bump, except for it's a giant tope for me in terms of adjusting to life in Mexico.
Yeah, I would say if you're looking to move to Mexico and you don't speak Spanish, that will be probably the hardest thing. Now, while in cities like expat cities like Vallarta, San Miguel de Allende, there's a lot of people speak English. Tons of Mexicans across the whole country speak English, so you'll be able to survive. But I would say your ability to truly enjoy Mexico increases as your ability to speak Spanish increases as well.
Yep.
Now, the kind of the flip side, each of these things that are a difficulty or challenge with us living in Mexico, we want to present kind of the counter to that as well.
Yeah.
I would say the counter to language being a difficulty when moving here is that the people want to teach you. They want to help you, or they're so willing and happy to help you and to teach you. So as much of a barrier it is, I don't think it's nearly as much of a barrier as it could be in other countries that aren't as open to foreigners and happy to have foreigners. If you show interest in Mexico and interest in the language to the locals, they will go above and beyond in making sure that you are welcome in their country. Challenging thing number 2. Just before we go, I'd like to say that I'm sitting down, Hillary is standing up.
I grew.
Challenging thing number 2 when moving to Mexico is that everything works differently. From going to the doctor, maybe, I don't know, I've never set a doctor appointment in Mexico. We always just go into the clinic. We walk in. The first time, actually, I literally just walked in, waited in the waiting room, and then found out that I needed to get a little feature. I needed to get a ticket to reserve my spot in the waiting room. So that's just something that I didn't know how it worked. Other things, going to the grocery store, just every single thing that you're going to do when you first move to Mexico is absolutely exhausting. You go in the grocery store, you have your backpack on, some guy's asking for your backpack, you don't know why he's asking for your backpack, you have to pay with cash everywhere, which again, it's not that big of a deal, but if you're living in the States, it's probably not something you're used to. You walk everywhere, which is generally a good thing, but sometimes you just don't want to walk.
It's just a lot different. I think again, one of the positive things about how challenging this is we have had some of the most hilarious instances that have all been sort of an integral part of our adventure, the adventure that we've shared with you guys here on YouTube. I think it's all part of the fun and the true adventure of moving and living abroad.
Exactly. And I will also add that things generally work how you think they'll work, and it only takes one time to figure it out. So it's not a huge learning curve, but it is difficult.
At the same time. Now, the third biggest challenge with life in Mexico, I'll get to the third one, but first we want to reiterate that for us, these challenges are obviously absolutely well worth life abroad. For us, our experiences in Mexico have been overwhelmingly positive. We have 900 videos of us showcasing that. But I do think it's important also to be honest and open about some of the actual challenges. And look, we realize in perspective that these aren't great challenges, aren't great life challenges. These are small day-to-day challenges that we've experienced years ago, much of which we aren't really experiencing anymore.
Right.
That disclaimer said,
quick location change.
What?
A dog, it was steamy. Okay.
Oh, it was stinky.
What number thing is this?
3.
Third thing that is challenging, was challenging, still is challenging at times when living in Mexico, is the informality of life. Really the informality in terms of pricing. Now what we mean by that is a lot of times maybe in a market or more so on the street, there's not a clear price structure all the time with the price of goods, which leads to a lot of negotiating, which can be fun, but as a newbie in Mexico, and maybe
it's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. Taxis, getting in a taxi, you either need to just, well, I wouldn't do this, but you either get in the taxi, get to your destination, and then
find out the price.
Find out the enormous price of the taxi, or you need to negotiate the price beforehand. And once you think, okay, I'm in Centro, I'm gonna go to I don't know, Las Altas, it costs 70 pesos. The next time you think it's gonna cost 70 pesos. Nope, they're gonna charge you 200 or something. So
or 60.
Or 60, you never know. It really changes every time. Another example of the price informality is when I broke my foot. We went to see a specialist. I should have asked the price beforehand like you would do at the taxi. I didn't really think about it because it was a pretty, like, I don't know, fancy doctor.
Yeah, it seemed quite official.
It seemed very official, very formal. Afterwards I said, okay, we need to pay, and we asked the secretary, and she just looked to the doctor and said, like, how much do I charge them? It was like they didn't have a set price for a consult. 2,000. 2,000 pesos. It's like he just kind of made it up out of, I don't know, so it felt like I probably got ripped off there.
It's a prime example of an informality.
Last informality, price structure, is an example of our dear friends that live in San Miguel de Allende. They were getting internet installed, or needed to get internet installed, and they needed it quick, and they heard the rumor on the street was if you wanted your internet installed fast before your neighbors, you'd have to flag down the internet company guy somewhere out on the street, give him an extra little propina, little tip, and that was how the scheduling.
That was how you moved up the list.
Yeah, so I guess that's a benefit if you're the guy who, if you paid a tip and you got it, but if you don't know how that works and you're not getting internet, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, now there are some good things about price informalities here for us, and that is, in Mexico, there's a huge bartering system in terms of exchange of services. For example, someone at our gym is a photographer, so she takes pictures for the owner, and then she's able to take classes for free. Sort of this type of environment. There was a market we went to in Oaxaca, and people literally brought their fruits and vegetables and all just sort of traded them. So I think an exchange of products or services and the informalities that go along with that are something that I absolutely love about Mexico.
And ultimately, while I felt like I paid too much for my consultation for my broken foot, we didn't have to deal with insurance. There was really no paperwork.
There was no even appointment. You didn't have like
I was WhatsApping the doctor.
Your medical history, your records, your relationship history, things like that.
It ended up being quite a bit cheaper than it would have been in the States.
The fourth and final challenge with life in Mexico, before we get to the thing we absolutely hate about life in Mexico, is finding common things. Now this for me as a shopper, as a born shopper, is a lot more challenging, I think, than Greg, because I often want to buy things. But for example, a few of the things we have yet to find.
Hashtag hapless.
A stapler, a new pillow, a gift bag for a gift,
What did we get a gift for?
New replacement for a light fixture that Greg broke. Story for a different day. All of these things seem like I know, in the United States, I know exactly where to go to buy a new pillow, to buy a new stapler. Some things like that are a lot more difficult for me to find here. Again, not a deal breaker by any means, just something that I never really considered before moving here. I'm used to the same brand. I look for a Serta pillow. Serta doesn't exist here.
I'm sure it does somewhere. We haven't looked at Liverpool yet because, quite frankly, we can't afford Liverpool.
Yeah.
Again, all of these are relatively small things, but somehow I would honestly say that with the language, an inability for us to find things in Mexico has been really challenging, and that's from the grocery stores to the markets. A lot of it is just things. When we first moved to Mexico, Hillary was searching for dry ranch packets, and I told her for years and years and years, you're not gonna find a dry ranch packet in the store in Mexico.
Yeah, it's
maybe
like the products are different.
It's just the products are different, but we beat our heads against the wall for years trying to find things that just didn't. They either didn't exist here, or we were searching in the wrong
now I have
corner.
A stockpile.
Now the flip side of that, or really the counter to the difficulty of finding things, is that once you find the thing, once you find the stapler or the pillows, especially in a city like Mexico City, you'll find that there's probably a pillow section of the city. There's an entire section of the city that sells nothing but pillows, another section that sells camera stuff, another section that sells
It's true,
whatever.
It's true, it's very segmented.
So once you find that thing that you're looking for, it's a lot easier to find. I mean, just like in the States, once you know that Walmart or wherever, Best Buy, wherever has X thing, then you know where to find it. But when we first move here, it's a pain.
The fifth and final thing that makes life abroad hard, and this is something we actually truly do hate about life in Mexico.
The only thing we hate.
You guys have probably guessed it by now. It is being far from our families. That's the reality. It's something that we've struggled with. It's something that we will probably always struggle with. It's something that does not get easier with time. I'm sure it's different for everyone, but we miss our families every single day. I FaceTime my family multiple times a day because I miss them so much. It's something that truly makes life in Mexico really hard for us.
Definitely, I feel like not living close to family and friends, like we're not really associated with things going on in the States. I remember when several years ago our friends came to visit us and they were telling us about White Claws and
all these new drinks.
All the new drinks that were popular and songs that we hadn't heard of, and it felt like I remember feeling so disconnected from the States and really disconnected from really where all of our family and friends live. Now, the benefit to not as much us living in Mexico, well, one benefit to living in Mexico is if you're gonna live abroad, Mexico is about the closest place you could physically live.
Or Canada,
and we're just as far away from our family really than if we had decided to move to Boston. We're about 2.5 hour flight. 2.5 to 4 hours, depending on if we have to stop in Houston or not, flight to see our family. So really, if we lived in New York City or California, we would be much further, culturally closer, but we would be probably further. And I would say this doesn't have as much to do with Mexico, but rather kind of our lifestyle being YouTubers, is that when we go back, we can go back for a week or 2 weeks and truly spend all of our time with our family and not work during that time. And so whenever we go back to see our family, we get, you know, days and days of uninterrupted time with our family. And that's really not something that I believe that we would be able to get with our family if we were living in the States and Hillary's a CPA and I was a coach or a teacher or something.
True quality time with our family. That is something that is actually a blessing in disguise to living pretty far from them.
That said, I miss you, Mama.
I miss you, Mama.
Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now, what is Skillshare, you might be asking?
Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes for creative and awesome people. You can take classes in nearly everything: photography, film and video, entrepreneurship. Right now we're taking a class from Jessica Kibasi. called portrait photography. Shoot and edit Instagram-worthy shots. For us, obviously living at the beach, we're always looking to take pictures at sunset, and Jessica does a really good job of sort of pointing out tips and tricks to make the best of that golden sunset lighting.
Little street noise going on, but hey, that's just the beauty of Mexico. Now, Skillshare is designed for actual learning, amigos. Now, what that means is there are absolutely no ads in your classes, so you can just focus on your class. They are always updating the library of classes, so you will never get bored with new things to learn on Skillshare. And the best part is that it costs less than $10? Less than $10 a month with an annual subscription.
And the best part is that the first 1,000 people to click the link below in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare.
Yes, please click so we can continue eating tacos. And because Skillshare is nice, please click.
And because tacos.
Amigos, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about some of the difficulties for two gringos living in Mexico. And again, let's reiterate, they're not really any difficulties. It's just, I wouldn't even call them challenge. Challenge is just too hard of a word. But anyways, I think you're gonna like the videos we have.
Oh yeah, we haven't.
You're just gonna like the videos we got coming up next.
Okay, you wanna see the behind the scenes? You have a booger.
Oh, babe.
It's right there.
You let me film the whole thing like that?
Have less to more. Be more.